today's top stories and the forewarned forecast. This is News 4 at 4.
We are continuing our team coverage with a forewarned weather alert. Forewarned meteorologist Andrew Baglini is tracking the latest conditions. And we will also have a live report from meteorologist Kaylee Wentz with a look at the damage outside. But first, let's take a live look over downtown Buffalo right now. It is very, very windy out there, as you'll see in just a second. Here we go. You can see the camera shaking there. It looks like the camera itself is actually going in and out and kind of glitching there. A lot of reports of damage that we're getting into the newsroom. And also, Andrew, we are also learning that several inbound flights are being diverted from the Buffalo International Airport. This is new information that we're just getting. They're being diverted to areas including Pittsburgh, Syracuse, Albany, and Corning. So if you are expecting somebody coming in or if you are traveling, you will want to make sure that you check the status of your flights.
Yeah.
But again, Andrew, this sounds like a very serious and potentially dangerous situation.
It absolutely is dangerous, and we've already been seeing that with the trees and power lines coming down. It's more than just an inconvenience with power outages. We have a lot of scenes quite like this all across Western New York. This is a photo in Pendleton. Glenn sending this in. The tree just completely uprooted. It takes a lot of power to bring trees down like this. Also reports of power lines just snapped in half. These high wind warnings for all of Western New York going out until 10 o'clock. So we are right in the thick of it, and it's going to continue for the next few hours before things start to slowly, very slowly, get better tonight and into tomorrow morning. Also, these lakeshore flood advisories along the shoreline in Chautauqua and Erie County could still see some problems there with the winds coming right off the water. Winds gusting to 47 at the Buffalo airport right now, where we just heard we have a lot of problems there and flights being diverted. 59 up in Niagara Falls, 62 for Albion. We've seen a lot of gusts between 60 and 70 miles an hour, even above that at times. Well, a quick look at the wind gust model over the next few hours, I think, is what's going to be the worst. We're in it right now. Closer to 7 o'clock is when I anticipate the strongest of the gusts starting to calm down, but it's still going to be very windy. Even once those warnings expire at 10 o'clock, we could still see some advisories issued, still dealing with wind gusts around 30 to 45 miles an hour. And then overnight is when things will start to slowly, again, calm down. Still very breezy, 20 to 35 miles an hour easily. By the time many of us are waking up and heading out the door Thursday morning, expect a lot of damage out there. Still a lot of tree limbs down on the ground, but winds closer to 10 to 20 miles an hour at this point. So still going to be a breezy and noticeably chillier Thursday. That's what those winds are ushering in, a lot of colder air, and we'll see those temperatures tipping back below freezing for tonight as the winds do back off late tonight, really after midnight. Coming up in my full forewarned forecast, we'll talk about some colder weather arriving and how long it's sticking around, even tracking some snow on the way. That coming up in just a few minutes.
Andrew, thank you. Now, the wind is causing a lot of damage across Western New York. Our team coverage continues right now with News 4's Kaylee Wentz. She is live at the Erie Basin Marina in Buffalo. Kaylee, I can already hear all the wind behind you.
Yes, I'm live here right along the water. The waves are continuing to crash up onto the dock where we're standing. We think we found a dry spot, but knock on wood, we might get hit with some waves here. The waves are pretty high right now. I would say about 2 to 3 feet. And if you didn't know any better, it looks like a beautiful spring or summer day out here. But of course, winds are making it feel much cooler than a spring day. Very chilly, very windy, so a lot going on down here. Now, we've seen lots of people out coming to check out the views, but conditions have just recently gotten so windy that even the people coming to look at the water have decided to leave. So my recommendation for you is, if you can, go home, stay inside, stay out of these winds and stay out of these cold conditions, because it is truly that. It feels like a winter day out here, even though the sun is out. Do not let that fool you. Now, coming up in the next half hour, we're going to be taking a look more at the waves and the wave heights, wave waters coming up. Lake Erie is abnormally high today, so we'll give you some more details on that. But for now, I'm live at the Erie Basin Marina.
Kaylee, stay safe out there. Thank you. Now, here is what you need to know right now, traffic-wise. Several roads are closed and travel advisories are in place. The elevated portion of the Skyway is closed in both directions right now. Orchard Park police are also asking for no unnecessary travel south of Route 20A. Niagara Falls Mayor Paul Deister is also asking for no unnecessary travel. Now, these are the current power outages right now. There are more than 38,000 NYSEG customers without power and more than 100,000 National Grid customers without power. And we've just learned in the last few minutes that flights have been diverted from the Buffalo Niagara International Airport. And we have the spokesperson for the NFTA, Doug Hartmeyer, on the phone with us live right now. Doug, thanks for joining us.
You're more than welcome.
So how many flights are being diverted right now, and where are they going to?
Well, these were inbound flights that were not able to land over the course of the afternoon to this point in time. We had 7 diversions from 7 different airports, Fort Lauderdale, Detroit, Philadelphia, O'Hare, Tampa, Orlando, and LaGuardia were unable to land in Buffalo, and they were diverted to other airports. At the airport during the course of the day, which has been the problem, we've had sustained winds of about 45 miles an hour with peak gusts up to 66 miles an hour, and that therein lies the problem.
So is this only affecting the inbound flights?
In most cases, though, and I don't pretend to be a pilot, but in most cases, the landing is more of the issue as opposed to the departures. So in the course of the day, we've also had 2 flights diverted to Buffalo earlier in the day that were unable to get into Rochester, one from Washington, D.C., and the other one, I don't have that in front of me. I'm not sure where that came from. So, but both were all wind related. So we've had a very busy day out at the airport today due to these heavy winds.
Okay, so going back to the inbound flights that are diverted, how do you make that decision?
Well, the pilot makes that decision. Certainly they're in control of the aircraft at all times, and ultimately it is always in the hands of the pilot whether or not they're going to depart, whether or not they're going to land, because they are the ones in charge of that aircraft.
Okay, and what should people do if they are expecting somebody coming into the airport, or if they are traveling themselves out of Buffalo?
Well, they should check with the individual airline or check with various websites, including buffaloairport.com, and information will be posted as we get it. But generally, it's good to check with the airline for the most up-to-date information possible.
Okay. Doug Hartmeyer, spokesperson for the NFTA, thank you again for joining us. Well, it's days like this where you really want our Forewarn weather app. You can get up-to-date watches and warnings that affect you. Download it today for free.